Hello, my name is Eric Malvin. I'm co-founder of PackBiz, and I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to watch this presentation on how you can use a taxi call center to help your business through the COVID-19 that we're all going through, and also to help scale your fleet, improve customer service, and cut costs and make your business, your taxi fleet more efficient. Yeah, I wanted to do a little introduction and on myself here, let you know my background. So there's me on the left in the red shirt. I started a taxi business with a couple other people back in 2011. It was this company called True Cab in Scottsdale, Arizona. We had these red taxis, and by 2014, we had started our own call center. And so this is the first people. Actually, this is Rusty, who's our QA manager. There's Ryan, who's now one of the account managers. But yeah, we started out very small. This is about as big as the office was. And by 2015, we shut our taxi company down and gave these guys a new job. We actually started working with new taxi companies instead of our own, and started growing. And it went from 5 employees in 2015 to 10 to 15 in 2016, and we just kept doubling. So where now we have 200 employees. We have the whole second floor of this building and part of the first floor. A month ago, I was in the Philippines planning on expanding to another city. Everything is paused, obviously, but we got a big office out there, and we work with taxi companies who are as small as they have 8 cars in their fleet, and we work with some that are as big as having 2,000 cars in their fleet. So it doesn't matter what size company you are. I think, if you're worried about the coronavirus and how you could support your business with your customer service and how you could grow your business in this time, then you're in the right place. So today I'll be talking about taxi in the COVID-19 era. And in this picture here is actually from my daughter, Mia. We were in Taiwan on like March 15th, escaping the Philippines because the coronavirus is breaking out all over the world. Travel bans were popping up. People were getting quarantined. So we rushed back home. But we were wearing masks, and you could see we're one of the only people out there in Taiwan. Things were kind of already locked down there. So we'll be going over today is what does the next 12 to 24 months, what could it possibly look like for your business, and how is this going to impact it? We're going to look at how to protect your taxi customer service against the coronavirus, and what steps can you take to make sure that there's no interruptions for your customers. We'll be talking about what things you should be doing to let your customers and drivers know that they're safe, and how does the call center play a role in that. We'll be talking about how are you keeping up with the customer experience changes that have been happening over the last 5 years. And lastly, or not lastly, but how can locally knowledgeable customer service agents be one of the things that can set you apart during the coronavirus? So we'll go over a couple examples there. And then how can your critical vendors, what are they doing to take steps to make sure that you're not going to have any interruptions with your business? So we'll be going over that. And then lastly, we'll be asking, is growth part of your future? Because if it is, we'll be covering a little bit of that as well. So here, I think every taxi business has some kind of seasonality. And for a lot of you guys, you've been around for generations. And so, you have your peak season, your peak travel season, maybe peak during the holidays. You have your slow season as well. But all of that is out the window. Everything, all your projections, all your historical numbers, there is no peak travel season anymore. There's no one traveling. And so the thing to look at is actually, the recovery, and how does the recovery match up with, how you can deal with the ups and downs of the recovery. There's been talk about, will it be a U or a V, or will it be like a W? Like some of these that you see here. So you got to be prepared for all of those, but how does your call center help support that? If all of a sudden now you have to suspend a bunch of people, there's another stay-at-home order, or all of a sudden, you have a rapid increase in business, you're one of the only providers that can help support the community in your area. And now you have an increase in business. How do you support that? So a call center can be definitely a valuable tool to help throughout the ups and downs of the coronavirus. And here's just a closer look at some of the different recovery models. So next, we're going to look at how to protect your customer service against the coronavirus, because every business needs to make sure that there's no interruptions, and the last thing you want is for something to interrupt your business, even though you could operate. If customers can't call in, if the app isn't working, if the IVR isn't working, the website, number one is you got to make sure that your agents can work from home. And for those of you guys watching this, if you're on an older legacy dispatching system, I'm sure you felt the pain in the last month, having agents who had to work from the office. And so hopefully this whole thing has made it abundantly clear that it's time to upgrade that dispatch system if you haven't already. Consider using this downtime to make improvements in your dispatch software, making upgrades in the business. Some of you guys that I've talked to hardly have any cars on the road right now. You only have a small set of customers noticing some kind of interruption. So perfect time to be making those upgrades and changes that are really difficult and challenging to do when your business is up and running fully. If staff must work from the office, make sure that you're taking extra steps to make sure that they're safe and the virus can't easily spread. This isn't going to go away just because the economy is opening back up. Doesn't mean that all of a sudden no one's going to get sick anymore. Those same risks are still there, and they're going to be there for some time. And so it's important as the owner, if you are maintaining an office space with a bunch of staff taking calls, that you got to take steps to make sure that they're not passing the virus around. And we'll go over that in a little bit here, some of the things that we're doing. And consider diversifying your calls with a call center. We work with a number of companies that utilize us, and they utilize their own staff locally, which helps diversify. If there's people that are out locally, we could help fill in, and vice versa. If something's happening in our office, they could bump up the staff too, although we have a lot of things in place to prevent any downtime. But it's a great way to make sure that you don't have any outages and you don't have any downtime because of something happening locally or within your own office. And then having a call center that's already established can be a reliable backup during this time. If you have a virus outbreak in your office, someone came in and spread it unknowingly, and now nobody can work, everyone's sick or they're in the hospital, how do you keep running your operations? If you're scrambling and calling me up saying you need people to take your calls, we're going to do our best to help you out. But it'd be a lot easier if we had access to your dispatch system. We knew how to handle the phone system. We had all the standard operating procedures and training. We've gone through calls already. It will make that whole process much smoother. So what are you guys doing to let your customers and drivers know that they're safe? So I got a little bit of a story to tell you guys. You saw there, I had a picture of us in Taiwan around the middle of March. And so February 28th, we actually left, took my family. We went to the Philippines because I visit the call center there often. And we usually bounce around to a couple cities. So we were on 8 different plane rides during that time, going to Taiwan, Manila, Cebu. And throughout that process, you use the app to book a taxi, and this even popped up for me. This is a screenshot I took, warning passengers, hey, make sure that you're putting on a face mask, use hand sanitizer. So that's an example of something that they're doing to let their customers, try to help them feel safer, and also the drivers. But what are the steps that you guys are taking? Here is another kind of famous kind of quote now, from Mark Cuban. When the coronavirus really started breaking out, he was known for saying, companies, how they respond to the coronavirus will define their brand for decades. And I don't know about you guys, but the taxi companies have been working on rebranding themselves. Some people have dropped the word taxi or minimized it really small. They've completely rebranded away from their taxi name to something that has no association to taxi. And so I know a lot of people have been investing a lot of time and money to reposition themselves in the community. Well, what better time and what better opportunity than right now to reposition your taxi business, to show that you're an asset to the community, that you can adapt quicker to local conditions, to local laws and regulations that are coming up because of the virus, and then also how you're helping the community and helping them keep safe. So those things, the things that you guys are doing right now, will be how the community looks at your business for years and years to come. So I asked our call center agents, I was like, so guys, what kind of questions are you guys getting from customers? Because I wanted to share with you guys here what things that you should be prepared for, that your customers are going to be asking your call center agents. And so number one question, which this is really easy to knock out, are you still operating? Obviously, the answer would be yes if we're answering the phone. But some of the other questions that pop up are really thought-provoking, because if you don't have an answer to this, your customers are still going to ask the questions. And so it's important to make sure that your call takers, your drivers, your marketing, your social media, your emails, all of them address these questions, because these are the same things people in your community are asking to make sure that they're safe. But did you make sure that your drivers are COVID-free? What are you doing to protect them there? Are we able to let your drivers buy some food or medicine for us? That's a common question that's been coming up a lot, I've noticed. Do you observe any physical distancing inside your taxi? Maybe it'd be kind of funny to think about, I got to say 6 feet away from the driver, but there have been companies that have restricted people in the front seat. And those little things, those little changes that people are making do make a difference, just for the public perception. And then also actually they physically make a difference and reduce the risk of the spread. Do you have any screens placed inside the cab that separate the driver and the passenger? Do all of your cab drivers wear masks? People are asking, what are you guys doing to sanitize the cabs? Do you transport any COVID patients? If so, it's going to raise some concerns. From the passengers. And also, what are the protocols followed if we need to transport a passenger who might have the virus? Those are all great questions, and I'm sure everyone has medical accounts. You know, these are the stuff that's coming up. So whether it's the business community, the cash customer community, there's a lot of questions that are coming up, and maybe take some time and talk to your customers and make sure that you're addressing all of their concerns. So that's a lot of the content I put together to talk about the coronavirus side of things. This is now that's a big storm that's affecting everybody, every business all over the world. But there's another storm that's been affecting the taxi industry for the last decade. And so there's been a lot of changes, just even in the last 5 years, with customer experience and the process that the customer goes through to work with your business, from booking the taxi all the way to the person picking them up, any follow-up email, text, pop-ups that they get after the ride. It's all part of the customer experience. And so some of the changes that have happened in the last 5 years, which are important to point out, because if you're lacking in some of these areas in your company, those are the areas that you should be looking at to improve in your business, because this is what the customers are expecting these days. Big one, obviously, is advanced dispatching tools. And I only keep mentioning this because I still keep talking to fleets that don't have an advanced system, that they can't do an app, or they can't pull the kind of reports and the data out of their system that they need to be able to compete against some of the other companies. More operators are moving to cloud-based technology and allowing work to be done remotely. So I mentioned it earlier as well. If you didn't have the technology to let people work from home, you probably really felt it when everyone else got to work from home and your staff still had to go to the office. And so now, I mean, if that was you in the last 30, 45 days, this would be one of your top priorities. Contact center technology has improved. And so it's not just that Uber, Lyft, and these apps are getting better and improving and making it harder to compete against. It's that the whole industry, everybody, if you're calling your bank, if you're ordering a pizza, if you're, booking an appointment or something, they're used to being able to text, to chat with someone online, to send a message on social media, about a question they have. And so a lot of taxi companies aren't really that great at being available for their customers on some of these channels like text or social media. And so that's another area of improvement that a lot of taxi companies really need to look at to improve their customer experience for their customers. Advanced CRMs. Before the old school salespeople, they had their different ways of doing things, but now there's CRMs that can track all of your interactions through email, phone calls, in-person visits, dropping off maybe some business cards, some marketing materials for your taxi company. And so if you're not utilizing some kind of CRM to manage those relationships, not with the regular customers, that's what your dispatch system's for, but with your business clients, with your accounts, with the people who use you on a regular basis. What are you doing to set yourself apart and making sure that relationship is going well? You haven't gone 6 months, 12 months without talking to them. CRMs is what you need to fill that. Uber and Lyft catching up to taxi for customer support. It used to be that a lot of taxi companies would tell me like, hey, I'm answering the phones, you can't call Uber and Lyft. And so, that's setting us apart. It's not the case anymore. You have a phone line you can use to call in. You could chat with them through the app. You could open email support. And so they're coming in and being available for their customers in all these different channels. And so if you're only available through phone, you're missing out and missing out on customers who want to use those ways of communication. Here's a slide from Verizon from a call center conference I went to somewhat recently. And I've been bringing this up in meetings or presentations with taxi companies because I want to show like this is what customers are becoming used to. Like I was saying, whether they're ordering food, whether they're buying movie tickets, using something on an app, ordering some kind of service, they're used to being able to interact with the business through chat, through messaging, through opening a support ticket. Some of you guys are utilizing some of these tools as well. Some of you guys are using AI. Or an IVR system. But that's only one segment. There's multiple other segments here to look at. We're great with AI. I think when we can handle the 20, 30, 40% of calls that AI can't handle, it makes for a great customer experience, which is what we're all about. If they can get their call handled quickly through the AI, great. And then when they need to talk to someone, or maybe they don't want to deal with a computer, we're there to help them out and give them an equal or better experience. And so, but making sure that having these channels available, it's like you see here, it's becoming the new norm. And so if you're not there, you're going to make yourself look outdated. So we're, taxi call center. There's only a handful of us out there. I can probably name off the different countries that we all exist in. But there's only a few, and I think that makes a difference when you're working with a company that only works or primarily works with taxi companies. They understand more so the needs of your business than just going to anybody. Hey, you take calls, you never dealt with a call center before, you're going to run into a lot of weird problems. So here's some of the services that we offer from our call center. And there are things that you guys should definitely consider if you're looking at outsourcing to see, can this call center handle these different tasks? So everybody's going to be able to offer a dedicated call taker. And that's when the first company started outsourcing their taxi calls, that's the first thing they looked at. That's still the first thing we look at now for businesses today. Taking cash, maybe some account calls. They're just doing the basic stuff, nothing advanced. Anything advanced gets transferred onto the local office, a dispatcher. These days, though, we're handling more and more corporate medical accounts, especially when the dispatch system can handle a lot of the rules that need to be followed with each individual account. It really reduces the possibility for mistakes, and it lets companies like us that aren't on site in your office handle these accounts and give them a great experience because we have all the information there. We have all of the data to help support that customer. We offer part-time and on-demand. So, based off of the patterns of your business, let's say you have a couple 4-hour shifts that you need to have filled. it's going to be really difficult to get someone to come in on a 6-day or to just work that schedule. I don't know. I've seen the schedules that you guys have for your call center staff or dispatchers. You know, it's not the best schedule a lot of times. And so there's a way to help value your own current employees there locally and help make the business run a bit smoother. Dispatching and controlling. So controller if you're in the UK, dispatchers if you're in North America. But that's also another thing that we offer. And it's not something that every taxi call center can offer. And if they don't have any experience in taxi, then I wouldn't even consider handing them this kind of responsibility. But with PackBiz, after 60 days of working with us, then we will allow the top agents to have the opportunity to move up to dispatcher if that's what you're looking for, and you know, that's what your needs are. So, and then we also offer quality services. A lot of taxi companies that we work with have, again, people locally and in your own city, and then they work with us. The people locally never get their calls monitored. They only listen to the calls when there's a mistake, an issue, customer complaint, and you got to research it. And so we have a team that listens to all of the agents' calls on a regular basis, and we can put your own agents through that. We have a software that we put all the information through, and so that the agent can log in, they can see how they've been trending over time, what are the areas that need improvement, and it also helps for coaching. So you can be proactive, and you could work on those trouble areas that, you know, you have these people that have been working in your office for years, and you haven't been able to get them to change that behavior on the phone. This is another way to help do that. That's just something that we could also offer to taxi companies. And lastly, we offer email, chat, and ticket support. And it's one of those newer, like I had in that other slide there, newer features that a lot of taxi companies just aren't doing yet. And I'll give you an example. We started last year with a company, like around October, November. We turned on chat for a month. I was like, hey, let us turn it on your website. We won't announce it. We won't do anything. It pops up if you visit the site during the hours that we were working. And through that, in a period of a month, they had like 200 something people chat with questions, you know, about fares, you know, booking airport rides. We ended up booking like 50 something taxi rides through chat. And we handled it just the way you'd handle it if it was through a phone call, verifying everything. And, you know, we made 50 more people. Now, maybe they would have called in, maybe they would have used the app. But again, it's about the customer experience. And if they're able to easily, without even moving out of the tab they're in on their browser, book a ride and chat with someone, that's going to make them a lot more likely to use you guys in the future. So features like that, those are some of the things upgrades that you could add to your taxi company to help improve the customer experience, grow your fleet, and some things to consider where you could upgrade your own business. And so here's just a little visual demonstration on you know, what it looks like if we're answering text messages or social media inquiries, even responding to reviews is something that we could do. Because I notice a lot of companies are not the best at responding, because you got to respond to all of them, not just the positive ones, and ignore the negative ones, because you're posting those replies for the other people that are viewing that. So, all right, going back to the coronavirus, the whole issue that's going on right now, because of the way that every city, you know, things are going to be happening different across the whole country. And so local knowledge is going to be more and more important. You know, what's happening in your city, in your metro area, or your state. And so how can locally knowledgeable customer service agents be something that sets you apart during the coronavirus era? So I have an example here. I got actually two scenarios, and I wanted to go over to illustrate how you could set yourself apart. So let's just say you got a customer, you're in Los Angeles, your taxi company there, and some customer, he's been stuck at home for 3 weeks, time to get groceries, doesn't have a car. All right, I need to call for a ride. So the first thing they do, they're gonna try Uber. They're gonna pull up the app, try to call in, as they're concerned, like, what are they doing to make sure that I'm safe, that I'm not gonna catch the virus from the driver or the last passenger in the car? And so after a few minutes of searching on the app, can't find the phone number online. So they give up and they just send an email. And then they ask them, so, what are they ask support, what are you doing to make sure that you're following LA's laws for keeping customers safe? And maybe 24 hours go by, 12 hours go by, you finally get a response, and it might link to something on their website about all the things that they're doing globally to help protect people against the coronavirus. Now compare that to the same person calling a local taxi company, and within seconds you're connected to a live person because they're going to pick up right away, and you ask them the same question: what are you doing to be in compliance with LA County laws for keeping customers safe right now and doing business in LA? And right away, the agent will be able to respond. Hey, we've been following LA County's mask law since day one. All cabs have hand sanitizer in them. We've even partnered with local restaurants in the LA area to deliver food to those in need for the elderly. So now it's the same question again after hearing those two scenarios. How can local knowledgeable customer service agents be something that sets you apart from Uber and Lyft during the coronavirus era? Now, hopefully that example shows you guys how that can happen. And like I was saying, recovery is going to happen on a state-by-state basis. And so someone on the other side of the world that has to answer people that could be inquiring about a ride in New York or California or Alaska or London, and it all goes to the same person, they're not going to know what's happening in your city. But a dedicated agent in a call center who only takes calls for your business and has been getting informed and updates just like all the other staff that you have, they're going to know, and they're going to be knowledgeable, and they're going to be able to tell your customers exactly what your business is doing to keep them safe. And it's going to give them the trust to take you over your competitors. And another question that you should be really looking at is what steps are your vendors, your critical vendors, taking to make sure that business continuity occurs during the coronavirus? So here's a picture of me at my call center about a month ago. We actually have a full-time nurse on staff, and so this is her, Nurse Daza, taking my temperature because actually all the way back on March, we had a breakout of the virus on February 5th in our city. We were one of the first places in the world to have someone outside of China have the virus. So because of that, we were able to start talking about it way back February. By March 3rd, we had a plan in place, and we were already taking temperatures for everyone coming in, even though the risk had gone away at that point and it was increasing everywhere else in the world. We were already making plans to have agents work from home, and by the middle of March, a number of them already had started doing that. But for you, call center, if you're working with a call center, those are valid questions to be asking. What are you doing to make sure that everyone is keeping their business safe? Maybe your dispatch company. If you have a bunch of developers that, the economy opened back up wherever they're at, and they come back to the office, and now one of them caught the virus and spread it to the rest of the developers, what are you going to do if there's a critical update that needs to happen and all the developers are out sick? If the business would have took steps to make sure that that wouldn't have happened, you wouldn't be in that situation. Or maybe auto repair shop for your fleet. Are they making sure that they have all the parts necessary, that their supply chains are strong? Because, if they can't get the part needed for your car and now your cab is stuck at the shop for 6 weeks, that's going to impact your business. So make sure that you're talking to your vendors and having these conversations to make sure that your business is also staying safe. And here's a screenshot of the COVID-19 plan that we had put together. And we had put this out March 3rd, pretty early on. And so one of the last things I want you guys to think about is growth part of your future plans for your business? And for a lot of you guys, you've been around for a long time. Maybe you've been around for generations. You're working with your son, and you're going to pass the business on to them. Or maybe you've been eyeing expanding the business, and you're seeing this as an opportunity to take out maybe some of the weaker competitors and buy them out and expand your business. And so if growth is part of your plans and your future plans, partnering up with a call center who can help you scale should also be something that you guys should be considering. And if you're not considering growing, I would strongly encourage you to think about it, because there's opportunities out there. And it's sad to see businesses, like a taxi fleet that's been around since the 70s go out of business. But you guys have been around for 10 years. I mean, I think everyone has seen competitors in their city go out of business, and this is going to accelerate those opportunities. And so if you're in a position to grow and to take on that business, um, then make sure that you're looking at how can you support that growth. If all of a sudden now you need to handle 1,000, a couple hundred more calls a day, how quickly can you scale up to support that? All right, so I'm gonna leave you guys with some questions to consider for making sure that your taxi company is ready for not only the virus, but also potential future growth. So what are you doing to keep your customers and your drivers safe, and how are you communicating that to them? I went over the questions that are coming up from customers, and so if you put that into your marketing, put it into your email messaging, into your PR, send something out to the news, telling them what you're doing, and start communicating, how you guys are setting yourselves apart from other companies. How are you mitigating risk against the coronavirus in your taxi calls? If you're grouping everyone in one big room and you're not taking any precautions and you're acting like the virus won't affect you, I mean, there's a good chance that sometime in the next 12 months, someone will be infected and they could take out your whole call center. And now you have all these drivers on the road, but nobody can answer the phone, take the calls. You don't want to deal with that. So what are you doing to make sure that there isn't any impact on your customer service? Do you want to grow during the coronavirus? And if so, are you prepared for an increase of calls? We just talked about that. Make sure that you're researching and meeting with BPO or call center providers to determine who can meet your needs. Maybe for your business, it works out that you could kind of go get by with a little bit lower quality support, and you can go for a cheaper service. That's great. If that works for your business model, more power to you. We tend to work with businesses who are looking for higher quality, that need people with more experience and that can handle more responsibility. That's why we could do dispatching, chat support, things like that. And so not every taxi call center is equal. We all have our strengths, and not every call center is equal. So make sure that you're working with a business that can help you out with your future goals. If that goal is to scale and to acquire other companies, or maybe it's just offer the best service in your city and to maintain market share. And I'll always mention this until the day I stop talking to people that don't have a proper dispatch system, but you have to invest in a dispatch system. It's really next to impossible to grow or even maintain your existing business without having that in place. And finally, reinvesting into improving your customer and driver experience. That doesn't mean a new dispatch system. Maybe your dispatch system's fine. This could mean just tweaking the opening line that the customer service agent says when a customer calls in, or the last thing they say, how they wrap up the call. It could be the driver onboarding process. Maybe you want to improve that so that when the driver finally gets behind the wheel and is taking customers around for your business, that they had a great experience and that they're going to communicate that with the customers. Like, man, I've drove for all these other companies before. I've drove for Uber and Lyft. Nobody has prepared me as well as this company, or nobody has treated me as well as this company. You want to have your drivers sharing those kind of stories, and you can do that by taking the time right now while things are a little slow for everybody to reinvest into that experience. So with that, I will pause my share here. So I want to thank you guys for watching the whole presentation here. If you have any questions, I just did this as a webinar for the Transportation Alliance. And so I had people asking questions earlier here. I'm just talking to myself in the video, but if you do have any questions, shoot me an email, reach out to us. We'd be happy to talk. I mean, right now with everything going on, if you just wanted to talk about strategy with the call center, maybe you wanted to bounce some questions off me for your existing call center, Doesn't mean we have to do business together. I'll be happy to talk. And if you have questions about what I talked about, if you have questions about how can you work with a call center like PackBiz to help your taxi fleet grow, please reach out. I have myself, and then also have Kelsey, who's works for me full time out of Texas, and we'd be happy to hop on a call with you, strategize, go over any questions you have. We're really just about trying to make sure that businesses like you, fleets like you, are able to grow. And I know it's not going to be easy for anybody, and maybe you won't be able to start growing until after everything recovers back. But I really think if you're here and you're still around and trying to expand your business, I think anybody that's still around right now that's a taxi business has an opportunity to grow. So I'm hoping that we could be a part of that for you guys. So thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something, and best of luck with your business in the coronavirus.